Welcome to the Pesky Report, a podcast for Red Sox fans.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back for episode 168 of the Pesky Report. I'm Ed Hand, and joining me today are Ryan Brady.
How we doing, Ed?
Doing good, Brady. Doing good. El Huitzo, making his third appearance on the show.
Hello, everybody.
And we're joining us today is our special guest, Hunter Dobbins of the Salem Red Sox. How are you doing today, Hunter?
Doing pretty good. Enjoying the off day.
Yeah, no, I bet. I mean, you guys have it. You guys have a lot of games in 1 week, 6 games, and then 1 day off. Is that? What do you generally do with the off day?
About half the time we're normally traveling to the next town. But the rare ones we do get at home, either playing golf or just resting, trying to get the body to bounce back.
You're big into golf?
Very big. Played it in high school. Now I use it to relax and get away from baseball on the off day and kind of help the mental side of everything reset.
Yeah, no, that makes. I've heard that's pretty popular with a lot of players. I remember before the season started, they had this picture of a bunch of the Red Sox during spring training went out together for it. It seems like that's really been growing in popularity amongst MLB players. Do you have a lot of teammates that play too?
A little bit. There's a couple guys up here that do. Like Marcelo, when he was up here, he did. Blaze is we're trying to get him into it. It's work in progress. But during spring training, there's a lot of guys that go and play.
What's the part of the game you're really good at, and what's the part that's a lot of work for you?
I'd probably say my irons are the best part of my game. And then just like every baseball player, the driver just refuses to go straight. So we're working on that right now.
No, I can't fancy myself as any super talented high school baseball kid, but I can tell you that I understand what you're talking about. I was at a driving range one time and sliced the ball so hard that I hit a guy literally mowing a green way off to the right. And I mean, he just looked at me like, dude. So I understand. It's difficult to do that.
Yeah, for some reason, baseball players, we just have a hard time getting it to go straight and or even staying within that hole.
Yeah. Absolutely. I can attest to that. Yes.
I didn't realize you were a golfer, Brady.
No. I could not call myself a golfer. When you injure someone playing golf who's not even playing golf with you, that kind of slows down your progress for golf outings. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just imagine. My only real golf experience is watching Happy Gilmore a bunch. So, I don't know how that really works. But so Hunter, were you able to do golf while you were rehabbing? So for those of you that do not know, Hunter was drafted last year in the 8th round of the 2021 draft and didn't really get to the mound until this season because of Tommy John surgery back in March. So it's been the previous March. So it's been a bit of a climb. Were you able to do that at all during your rehab?
After month 5, they cleared me to go start playing golf again. So by the time that the draft rolled around and I got down to Fort Myers and all that to continue my rehab, I finally got to get back out on the course.
Gotcha.
Can I ask you, as you were building back up, what month where you could actually just have a catch? Not pitching, just have a catch.
I want to say it was September is when I started throwing the ball again.
Now, how hard was it for you as a pitcher to just have a light toss, just have that motion, and not just want to see kind of have the new elbows doing?
It's pretty hard. the guys down there that are rehabbing us do a great job of making sure mentally we're prepared, and we know going into that first day of, hey, this is day one of we're lobbing the ball, and we're only allowed to throw it like 15 times the first day. So it's more of a kind of like a tease of like, hey, here's the ball. Go get your glove on, get out there again and toss it. All right, now try having fun. All right, we're done for the day.
And how does your arm feel after that 15? Were you like, I can do more than this?
Like physically, you feel good. Mentally, you're it's a very stressful 15 throws. Especially now, like in the professional ranks, like where the elbow is your livelihood. It's a very stressful 15. But once you're done, you realize everything held up and felt good. It's a huge relief.
Yeah, no, I bet. And so going a little further back, I know your dad was a ball player, but did you always want to be a pitcher? When did you start pitching?
So I've always pitched and played third. I actually went to college as a two-way, but I played third base behind Josh Young. I don't know if y'all know the name, but with the Rangers. So I knew I wasn't going to beat him out at third for the year, and then I had a velo jump. And once that velo jump happened, I realized that the mound was definitely the future. So ever since then, I've done nothing but.
What do you attribute the jump in velocity? Was it mechanic adjustment? Just filling out physically?
It was definitely just kind of body maturing. I was never a guy who just tried to reach back and throw as hard as he could. More of a mechanical. I always like to say I was more of a pitcher than a thrower. Mm-hmm. I was gonna Greg Maddux style, just stick on the corners and go with it. And finally, just kind of grew up a little bit, and that ever since then, velo's just slowly been climbing.
I've heard that your curveball is your real bread and butter pitch. Is that scouting report accurate?
That is that's definitely the go-to off speed. But now I will say now that the fastball is kind of sitting in that mid-90s range, it's become a weapon of mine. But I would definitely say the curveball is definitely the thing that kind of helps me stand out a little bit.
Yeah. Now, did you learn your curveball from your dad? Because I know your dad. Gosh, apologies if I get the name, if I'm incorrect on the name, but Lance Dobbins.
Yes.
He was a pitcher in the Diamondback system.
Yes, he was.
Coach, and did he coach you as a kid?
Yeah, he coached me basically up until I got to high school, and even then he still coached summer team, stuff like that. But like even now in the off seasons, I'll still go back and I'll throw bullpens with him because I mean, no one knows you like the guy who literally taught you how to pitch. So I'll still go back to him or I'll send him videos. Like if I'm in a little bit of a rough spot, I'll video it, send it to him, and he'll immediately be able to point out, oh, hey, this is what you're doing wrong.
No, I bet you that's just amazing having that in your back pocket, being able to be like, okay, well, even if I'm struggling, I'll have somebody that'll be able to help me figure this out.
Hey, Hunter.
Absolutely.
Question for you. I've heard pitchers talk a lot before about when they're struggling, tipping their pitches. Is that something that, you've experienced before and has your father picked up on that?
So I actually, in my career so far, I've only tipped pitches once, and it was actually a couple of weeks ago in Fredericksburg. We went back and on video and kind of found that I was tipping a little bit, but thankfully it was a simple fix. We got all that taken care of. But he taught me how to really just stay consistent with my delivery and all that so that I would avoid that problem.
So I always would think as a pitcher, if it's timing or, whatever it might be that's kind of giving something away, are you really thinking, because you're competing, but at the same time, you want to correct a behavior, whatever it might be. So how much are you, when you're on the mound, thinking about making sure that, we're not doing that and just attacking the hitter at the same time?
So me personally, the only time I struggle with it is when I'm out of the stretch. But I mean, even when you're out of the windup, it's always in the back of your head, like, all right, make sure I'm not giving them an advantage. Don't don't give them any information I don't want them to know. So you're aware of it. You're aware of kind of your body movements, your hand movements, and all that could potentially cause something. So it's definitely in your mind and focus point.
Now, how much did you learn, I guess, between when you first started at Texas Tech, how much did you learn about really like art form of pitching from when you got there? Because if you were playing if you were a two-way player initially, that's going to be, I feel like it's harder to focus on the one thing or the other. So how did the transformation of Hunter Dobbins to a pitcher begin?
It really started my freshman year when I realized I wasn't going to be playing third base this year, so I was able to really focus on, like, still take BP and all that, but focus on pitching. And our pitching coach there, Matt Gardner, did an absolute great job of teaching me, hey, you're a reliever this year, so this is a routine. This is how we do things, and this is how you kind of be a professional about it. And then we had another one of our special assistants, Ray Hayward. He played in the bigs. He played at Oklahoma State back in the day. Like, I had so much knowledge around me that from my freshman year to the time that I got drafted, I was picking up on new things about how to be a professional pitcher, how to handle my business and all that every single day.
Yeah, that's the coaching, I imagine, has got to be, and that's a D1 school, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you've got people that are used to that competition, and it's not as much of a jump to the majors as to the minors from, like, a D2 or even a D3 school. Now, you got hurt in March the year you were drafted. Is that correct?
February.
Yep. What happened there? Was it just like, because a lot of the time you'll hear, like, I heard a pop, and next thing you know is surgery. What happened in the case for you?
So it was I actually believe it was our last inter squad before opening day. I was out there pitching. I was about my third inning of work. Throw away a curveball and feel a little tingle from my elbow down to my fingertips. Didn't think much of it. Thought maybe I just kind of pronated my arm weird or something happened. Then I go and throw a fastball, and all of a sudden my fastball went from 94 to 83, and
Ooh.
felt the tingle again. Me being the way I am, being stubborn, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna throw one more just to see. And so I threw another fastball, and it was 83 again, and I felt just like kind of my fingers go numb, and I immediately just walked off the field, told my coach something's not right, and everybody knew what it was, but just nobody wanted to believe it. But it was, as a pitcher, the last thing you want to feel is that tingling that goes through the fingertip, because 9 times out of 10, that's surgery.
And had you ever experienced it prior to that, or was it did it all sort of happen at once?
Just all at once.
Yeah, that's gotta be scary.
It very, because you obviously you hear stories. I mean, I had teammates who had it months before me, and I think the scariest part about it is not everybody has the same way. So it's like, as a pitcher, you hear so many different stories. You're like, there's such a wide range of things you just don't want to feel happen in your elbow, that you're always on edge. Like, every time you get on the mound, obviously we're not thinking about it because we're numb to it at this point, but it's like every time I get on the mound, something could happen.
Yeah, you're really one pitch away. Sorry, Brady.
Do they talk to you about that, when you're in college and say like warning signs, thing to look for? Because it just seems like it's becoming more and more, prevalent, over time. And as a baseball fan, I actually like when pitchers get it a little younger because you kind of feel like they got it. They cleared that hurdle. Seems like guys often come back stronger. So like, hopefully that, rings true for you. But is there any kind of education about it? Do you think you made it worse by throwing an extra pitch or two, or was it inevitable after you threw that pitch the first time? What do you think about that?
There's not a whole lot of education on it, just because, I mean, if you're a baseball player that's going to go play in college, play in the pros, you hear from it from your peers anyways so much that educational wise, there's really not much for them to do other than they're like, hey, to prevent this, let's do arm care, let's do exercises, let's get in the weight room. But I would, to kind of the second part of your question is, most of the time with your guys who throw a little bit harder, once you feel it and you haven't had TJ before, once you feel it once on one pitch, most of the time they're just going to do a full Tommy John anyways. So it was kind of, once I felt it, in the back of my head, I knew I had to get it. So I was like, what do I got to lose? Let me see if maybe it was just something weird.
Right.
Which I think ultimately, did I tear it a little more? Maybe. But I think the end result was the same.
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting it, you're getting it. What did your teammates tell you? The ones that had experienced this previously.
They obviously felt bad for me. Just they kind of came over to me, told me that, hey man, it's a tough process. We're all here for you. We're here to help. It's time to just kind of put your nose down and grind and embrace the rehab and come back stronger.
Yeah, that's gotta be the way to do it, right? Just look forward, don't look back. But you were 20, right? 20 years old. Or were you younger than that?
I just turned 21.
Okay, so you just turned 21 and you have this elbow surgery and the draft is coming up. Did you think you were going to get drafted that year?
Before I got hurt, I did. I thought I had a chance to pitch my way into pretty early, but still had a full season to go. Once I got hurt, I didn't really know. I was hoping I'd just kind of done enough in the fall and in the early spring to kind of get my name out there, get my name kind of in everybody's mind. And I'll say my agent did a great job of kind of keeping my name in those kind of in everybody's heads. Y'all probably know my agent, Alex Wilson. He's a reliever for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny, full circle, that I'm now with the Sox. But I definitely owe getting drafted. I owe him a lot for that.
Yeah. How did you hook up with him as your agent?
So during COVID, I was still somewhat trying to be a hitter, and Alex was still pitching, and he was actually making transition from over the top to sidearm, and needed a hitter to stand in. So I actually took some at bats off of him. Well, I guess you can call them at bats. It was more like swinging and missing a lot. And so once he retired and became an agent, it was a no-brainer for me. I was like, absolutely, you're the guy I want in my corner.
That's really cool. How did you end up? Was he just around like the college, or how did he pick you for that?
So he went to Texas A&M, and I'm originally from College Station, which is same town, and so we just happened to be working out at the same facility, and then just kind of got to know each other, and then here we are now, like a year down the road.
Yeah. Has he talked to you about pitching at all?
A little bit. I've picked his mind of it's kind of hard just because we do have two totally different styles of pitching. But it's definitely of how to be a professional, how to handle myself. I've had quite a few conversations with him.
I was going to ask you the fact that your agent pitched in Boston and you were drafted by the Red Sox. Any words of wisdom for pitching in that market? Because, I mean, who better to ask, right?
I haven't had that conversation with him yet. It's still on the get healthy season.
Right.
But I imagine those conversations are coming pretty quick.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
you know who to ask, right? I mean,
absolutely.
There you
go. So draft day comes around. First day comes and you didn't get picked, but then day two, you're in the you're taken in the 8th round. Were you expecting to go that high? Was that a little late for what you thought?
For just having surgery and rehabbing, I was a little surprised. I was honored. It was definitely a blessing because there was not many teams I was gonna say yes to but once the Red Sox came calling, I'd already had conversations with the rehab team, the strength team, having like the head pitching coordinators. The Red Sox did such a great job of reaching out and giving me so much information to make a decision that as soon as they called, it was let's do this, let's get to work, let's get rehab and get me back on a mound.
So did they send you out to Fort Myers to get part of the orientation there, or did you do like a separate like rehab thing? Like how did that process work once you'd agreed to sign with them?
Yeah, they sent me down to Fort Myers with the rest of the draft guys. So while they were all playing the FCL games and all that, I was down there rehabbing. I actually rehabbed alongside Brian Mata, Thad Ward, Brock Bell, all of those guys. So actually, I'm really close with Mata now, really close with Thad, like all those guys that are even rehabbing right down there. They do a great job in Fort Myers of making it feel kind of like a family feel of the rehab guys, so you're not in it alone.
Yeah, that's got to, I mean, it sucks that many people have had to go through the surgery at the same time, but that's got to make it a lot easier too, I would imagine, just having those guys there and having guys that have already been through the system. I mean, you must have an idea of what you've got ahead of you now, right?
Absolutely. Talking to Mata, picking his brain of how to pitch, how to do this, how to operate, and then being around Thad. I mean, he's in Portland pitching amazing right now, and just like all of that experience being down there once, I think he's been really beneficial, and I think it's really going to help me in the long run. And then I even got to talk to Sale quite a bit while he was down there. So it's one of those things that it stinks rehabbing. Obviously, I mean, I'd rather be out there pitching, but just the wealth of knowledge that was down there at the time of my rehab, I feel like I'm so much more prepared for the levels to come.
What'd Sale tell you?
He just kind of told me, hey, off the field, act like a professional, have your guys' backs, and then he's like, on the field, pitch with emotion, pitch like you want to be out there, and then it's like just the storytelling of his many years in baseball, and I will say he does a great job of kind of picking up the younger guys and being that mentor for everybody. Like if you have a baseball question, he is 100% ready to answer it and help you any way you can.
Hey Hunter, can I ask you, not for you to name the team, all right, but was there a situation where, for whatever the reason, you were like, nah, I'm not interested in going with that organization unless it's super high up, right? Was there one that would be not a good fit? And again, you don't have to tell me I'm not telling which one, but Was there one that you didn't want to go to, and what would be something that make you go, not for me?
Yankees.
That was very fast.
It was,
great answer.
Yep.
That's so my dad actually got drafted by the Yankees 3 times. He's always been a diehard Red Sox fan.
Like him.
And so he's just I've always been anti-Yankees. It's one of those things that I got a couple buddies that play in their org now. So I look forward to that rivalry one day. But it was pretty quick that the Sox and maybe a couple other teams were the ones I was willing to say yes to. But I think if they would have came calling, I'd probably still be wearing the red and black at school.
I respect that a lot, just so you know.
Yeah.
That's how you endear yourself to the fan base right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So when did you get back into games?
June. I had been, I guess, throwing in FCL games in May, early May, maybe late March, but very scripted, very limited. Then I got up here to Salem in June, and still very limited. I think I was 3 innings, 4 innings, and now I'm pretty much good to go. Still on some pitch limits. I capped at like 5 innings right now, but this is still the rehab year. Everything's feeling good, but before I got back up here, I hadn't pitched in a game in about 2 years.
It's a long time. How's that feel when you get back on there and you've got, you've got all the fans in the stands watching you and everything? What was that first game back like?
Honestly, the fans didn't have much. I won't say much impact, but I was so focused on really just the feeling of the mound, seeing another team's uniform in the box, and when I was down in Fort Myers, I was playing in extended spring training, so it's like don't even keep records down there until the FCL starts and all. It's like getting on the mound for a game that means something. You're working for that playoff push. I think there could have been 0 people in the stands, and I would have been like a kid in a candy store, just stepping on the rubber again.
Oh man, I bet. And I remember seeing, because I'll be honest, I didn't recognize the name the first day that you were in the rotation. I had to go back and be like, wait a minute, was he okay, he was drafted last year. Right, surgery. Okay. And you just absolutely shoved for that first month. You were did you feel just extra motivated to be back there?
Yeah. So my first 2 starts, I think I got through 3 innings once, but gave up some runs, went to Charleston, did the same thing. But as soon as we got back from that Charleston trip and they're like, hey, we're going to let you go 5 innings. We're going to let you get that pitch count up. We're going to let the reins loose a little bit. My excitement level, my adrenaline just went through the roof. And I was like, all right, we're back. We're ready to pitch. And it really started on that. I think we went to Lynchburg or Columbia or something like that. And first inning felt pretty good. But then the second inning, I went out there and all of a sudden everything just felt like it was back to normal. And then I was able to ride that out for that full month, like you were saying. And it felt absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's sorry, Brady.
So Hunter, you're naming lots of cities and places you've been to. I'm always fascinated with, minor league baseball is right. They have a lot of things going on between innings. What's like the craziest thing that you've seen in between innings? Like the little contest or games or something like that, where you're like, almost like, I really can't believe they're doing this out here.
So it was actually this last week in Kannapolis. They had his name is Tyler's Amazing Balancing Act.
Okay.
And he brought probably like a 10 to 12 foot ladder and balanced it on his chin. in between innings, and it just was like dancing with it on. I was like, I was astonished. I was like, one, I was amazed that this guy was even doing this, and I was like, and he's doing it in the middle of an inning while guys are throwing baseballs around him. So I was like, that one kind of blew me away a little bit.
Cool.
That's super cool.
Did you try it at all? Were you like, you know what? I got next.
No. I was like, I'm gonna let you handle that one. I've rehabbed enough. I don't need any more.
Fair.
So when I was 9 or 10, I forget exactly. I remember going to a Fredericks Keys game, and I think they were just like regular A-ball or something like that. And I remember one of the players, it was like in the middle of the game, he was a black belt or something, and he would chop boards in half. And I remember, as a 9-year-old, this was like the coolest thing ever. Do you have any skills like that you could be like, I can get in the middle of the stadium and do this?
I can juggle. That's about it.
That's
better
awesome.
than me.
Wow.
I can juggle now. If you try to give me more than 3, I'm lost. But I can juggle 3 baseballs. I feel like that's pretty entertaining.
How about fruit? What if we throw in some fruit with it?
Maybe like an apple size something, but anything more than that,
How about a pear?
I'll be lost. I could maybe work with it.
All right.
Okay, so we're getting there, but not a banana. Not a banana.
No bananas. I need at least somewhat of a ball-shaped fruit.
Ball-like object.
All right.
Oh man. What's been as far as like the cities go? Like, what's been your favorite city to play in? Away team. I'm not gonna make you answer that with Salem. So excluding Salem.
I'd probably say Charleston. I mean, just the downtown area, the stadium was basically brand new. Just a great atmosphere. I would say kind of overall it'd be Charleston, but I'd say Kannapolis and Fredericksburg both are way up there too. I mean, super nice stadiums. Fredericksburg, we weren't in a great part of town for the hotel, so I didn't even really get to experience the town much.
Smart.
But like stadium and atmosphere wise, those 3 I'd say are pretty neck and neck.
Hunter, the one in Charleston, that's got like naval battleships right there, right?
Yeah, the River Dogs of the stadium's like right over right field's the river and
Yep,
all that.
I've been there. That is really cool. That's a really cool one. Can I ask you? I was fascinated with this. Is at what moment did you go, I'm really good at baseball? Like, at what age? Where were you when you're like, oh, the other kids kind of suck compared to me? Like, when did it click that you're actually pretty good at baseball? Like, not just like, oh, okay, like it's not just mom saying nice stuff. Like, when did it click?
I'd probably say my sophomore year of high school, because I actually quit baseball for a summer. Went and played golf in high school. Went and played summer travel basketball. Just got away from the game for a little bit. Just kind of got burned out. I wouldn't even say
it was a girl, right? It was a girl.
No, it was my love of basketball got to me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it was. I always loved baseball, but I felt like I needed to get away from it and go try other things to see if it was what I really wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Realized I wasn't fast enough for next level basketball. I basically all I was good for was sitting in the corner to shoot a free. But did the golf thing. Got to my sophomore year, got back into baseball. I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. Later that year, committed to Tech. And that was just kind of when it all clicked. I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to turn into a job.
If you weren't a baseball player, what do you think you would have wanted to do? Like, what did you study when you were in school?
So I'm university studies, but basically I'll have like a minor in like general business, marketing, and personal finance, which is a very wide range of what I could go do. But ultimately, I want to coach, want to help the next generation of kids coming up. Just kind of, I want to help kids make their dreams come true. And if passing on my knowledge helps them in any way, then that's what I want to do.
Hunter, what do you enjoy more, before a game, hitting some threes, or taking batting practice and launching? Because you said you were a third baseman, right? So of the two, which one brings you a little more pleasure?
Oh, hitting BP.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Right. Very cool.
That's I'm still trying to get that no hitter so we can get pitchers BP out here.
Is that how that deal works? If you throw a no hitter, you get to do pitchers all get to do batting practice.
Yep, that's our incentive.
So if that's a combined no hitter with the bullpen, the whole bit, if the team, good for you. All right,
Yep,
for
absolutely.
it. Nice.
Yeah, you gotta make that happen, and you've got to set up like a camera phone and put it on Instagram, the whole thing, or something like that.
Absolutely, we'll get it live streamed.
Now, Hunter, I ask every pitcher this question: have you ever been charged at on the mound while you were pitching? And if yes, how'd it go? And if not, do you have a plan in place? Because at some point in time, it's probably going to happen. So has it happened to you, and how'd it go? Or do you think about it in the back of your mind? Do you have a plan of what you're going to do?
It hasn't happened to me. I'd say kind of all the opportunities I've had for it to happen. The hitter knew why he was getting hit and kind of just accepted it and went to first.
Good lad. Okay.
Yep. But outside of that, I don't hit a lot of batters, so
Okay.
I've never had that random opportunity. But I think if it was to ever happen, I would definitely try to go for the Nolan Ryan headlock.
Nice.
And yeah, just go from there. Get step one taken care of, get his head, and then we'll figure out where to go from there.
See, I'd throw the glove right to the face to try to just distract and then body shot. That's me. But then again, I'd get my ass kicked. So, I mean,
See, I liked Brenton Salucci's play out of going for the legs. I thought that was pretty smart. That's because I'm not very tall, so I'd have like that advantage anyway. I could just get down low.
I was gonna say that's a bold plan for Salucci. That man trying to get low right there.
Yeah, he's like 6'5", 6'6", right?
Yeah, he's got to get real low.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Let's sweep the
So
leg right
you
out.
mentioned Nolan Ryan, Greg Maddox, even Chris Sale. Is there any other pitcher, past or present, that you look up to, that you would like to follow kind of his steps?
One who actually pitching for Boston right now is Waka.
Okay.
I've always been like mechanical wise, kind of compared to the way he throws. And then I love the way he goes about it on the mound. I mean, obviously, was it last night that he started?
Yeah.
And he was never seen phased. He never let the emotion get too high, too low. He was just kind of that steady hand, and you'd never be able to tell if he was having a good outing or a bad outing. And that's what I want to be able to do at the highest level.
Okay.
I mean, that's so much. That's such a part of the mental game too, is just being able to kind of remain on neutral. Is that something that you've had coaching towards, or is it something that you're kind of like an even keeled guy and are able to keep that mentality?
Kind of both. My dad did a real good job of instilling that when I was young. That hey, as a pitcher, some days you're going to go out there and you're not going to have your best stuff. You're going to give up a home run. You're going to give up 5 runs, but never can let the other team, and even more importantly, you can never let your own team kind of see that you're down, that you're frustrated, because as like your own team, they see you down as a pitcher. Well, nothing can happen until you throw the ball, so now they're going to get down because they're like, oh, this guy's having a rough day. And then the other team, it's like they see a pitcher frustrated, bad body language, he's given up. That's like blood in the water for a shark. They're in go mode now. So he did a great job kind of teaching me and helping me get to the point where I am just that steady hand up there. And whether I've given up 10 runs in 1 inning or I'm throwing a 8-inning shutout, I just want to be the same guy.
Do you feel like relievers kind of show it a little more where starters, they have a little more, kind of do need the composure because it's a longer performance?
I don't know if it's the longer performance, but I do think relievers, they pitch with a little bit more emotion just because, one, as a starter, your first inning out there, it's normally 0-0 beginning of the game. You're in complete control. Whereas relievers, you come in there, most time when you come in, it's a big moment. It's a big opportunity for you to really establish yourself as a trustworthy pitcher, trustworthy option. So, I mean, naturally, you're going to be a little bit more amped, a little bit more kind of on that higher end. And I don't think they show it in a bad way. But, as a starter, I love it when I can hand the ball to my reliever and I can just tell he's amped up and ready to go. Because if a reliever ever gets out there and I hand him the ball and he looks like someone just kicked his dog, I'm going to be a little nervous.
So if you get put, out of the pen, they want you to be, later on in your career, they're like, you know what, your stuff is playing well as a setup man, whatever it might be. Would you let it out then? Would you come, whatever it might be? Because I think you could do it. I'm just gonna let you know. I think you got it.
I think I could. Cool. If they handed me the ball and like, hey, we need 2 to 3 innings out of you, I feel like I could get myself amped up. Maybe a G Fuel or a Bang energy drink and really get going. Go out there, throw as hard as I can for a few innings, and call it good.
You're gonna have to grow your hair out a lot, though.
Oh, the thought has already gone through the head. I was thinking red mullet with
yes.
Maybe like a red beard.
Oh my God, do it. AL East Justin May, do it.
Oh, I think my fiance would kill me if I showed up back in Texas with that.
Man, how did you meet your fiance?
She played softball there in Lubbock at Lubbock Christian University. And so we just kind of, we met there, and that's where we're planning on living and getting married in October.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Was she a pitcher by chance?
No, she was a shortstop and outfielder.
You ever throw batting practice to her?
No.
That'd be awesome. Like you get into an argument and you're like, hit my curve, right?
See, I'd probably say that, and then she'd get up there and probably take it 400 or something like that.
That's cool. Can I ask you? I'm curious. Going from college, now to minors, aluminum bats to now wood bats. Is that different for you as a pitcher? The sound, the speed, coming off, the reaction time. What's as a pitcher? What's it like?
It's not too big of a change. I mean, the goal is still to miss barrels. My philosophy is I don't want to miss contact. I just want to miss barrels. Mm-hmm. It does make it a little bit more fun because aluminum bats don't break. Nothing's more satisfying than watching the barrel of the bat fly towards the dugout while the handle's still in his hand. But I think the overall approach to it pretty much stays the same. Just kind of pitch to my game no matter what and see what happens.
Can I ask you, during the off season, do you toy around with like a new pitch, like if you're working on a sinker or whatever it might be, or is that coming from like the organization will kind of say like, hey, or is it a mutual kind of thing? Like how does that work? Or did you get to kind of dick around and be like, I think I got something with this?
It's kind of mutual. It's one of those if like personally in college I threw 4-seam and a 2-seam, mm-hmm. where right now we're really focusing on the 4-seam. and my slider that I throw is a brand new pitch. I've been throwing it for less than a month, and so like that the slider was their idea, and it's turning into a weapon, which I'm super happy about. But and then like maybe later down the road, once my elbow's healthy, like fully, and I'm fully cleared, maybe I can talk to him like, hey, can I get the two seam back or something like that. But it definitely goes both ways, and we figure out the best plan, and then we go about it.
How does it feel to throw out the slider, a brand new pitch for the first time in game action? That first time, are you like, oh shit, or are you almost like, all right, like I want to see what this thing can do in game action?
So before I threw it in the game, I only got to throw it a total of 4 times in 2 different bullpens.
Okay.
And so it was the first game was, I think, Del Marva on 4th of July. And I think I went out there, and my mentality was basically I wanted to feel the conviction with it, like I've been throwing it for years. So I was like, you know what? Whether this backs up or it's absolutely gross, I'm just going to throw it as hard as I can and just see what happens. And I think I ended up getting like 5 strikeouts on it in that day.
Wow.
Definitely some confused faces when I threw it, because there's no chance it was on the scouting report for the other team. So imagine their hitters probably walked back in the dugout like, where did this come from? But it's definitely the mentality thing of just, you know what? No matter what happens here, I'm just going to throw it hard and see what happens.
Hunter, I think you may have tapped into a whole new philosophy for pitching, which is just like you're just throwing like the next start, you got a fork ball, and they're like, what the hell was that? And you're like,
what?
And then abandon it, and then just be like, nope, like no one knows your repertoire. It's everything. You're like, fuck, how does this guy do this?
Hey, if my favorite philosophy is my 4-seam, I'll randomly throw cutters with it.
Yep.
And I always tell my coaches, like, if I don't know where it's going, how could the hitter?
That'd be great as a pitcher to say that too, right? Like, dude, before you step in, I actually don't know where it's going, but like, good luck, right? Like, I'm just, as a gentleman, I'm just letting you know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There was actually, we were in Fredericksburg, and I was actually facing a buddy of mine, Will Frizzell, from A&M. And first pitch, we're trying to go just a 4-seam fastball inside, just try to get ahead. And I threw a cutter, I think at like 92, and it just ran under, and he swung and missed. And I kind of looked at my catcher. I was like, sorry. It happens randomly, happens every now and then. It's just part of it. But I think that's going to be something in the off season we work on, maybe actually developing a true cutter with it and trying to separate the two. But it's definitely funny seeing like the faces of the hitters when I'll randomly do it, and it just works out. And just the confusion on the faces is just always entertaining.
It'd be amazing if your catcher just had like a wheel, just like
just see what it lands on.
Exactly. Yeah, you're just like,
Yep.
Damn. You know what I mean? All right.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm done with the hypothetical new pitching philosophy.
The wheel method.
Like he's like, I only have 5 fingers to put down. Like this is not going to work. But like, pitch 38 is coming at you. That's it.
Hey, we could figure something out. Maybe if he taps his elbow and then puts down a 2, it's a different pitch than just a normal 2.
How about a knuckleball? You ever throw a knuckleball?
I have not. I've tried, but it's terrible.
Listen,
it's
either awful, and then one day you're Tim Wakefield. Like I really believe like there's it's just gonna click in. Go lefty with it.
I actually tried to learn how to pitch left-handed when I tore my elbow.
I think.
How did that go?
I wanted to learn how to. I was like, you know what? I think I can get up to at least like 85 left-handed. Let me be a lefty reliever for the college season. Let me like help the team in some way, and then I'll rehab while I pitch in the games left-handed. but it turned into a safety hazard for hitters, so we just went ahead and just got rid of that idea.
How hard could you get up to on lefty?
I think I topped out at like 74.
Go sidearm lefty, like just change it up completely. Have everybody, and no one knows what you throw. You know, the scouting report, like, I thought he's a righty starter. What the hell is going on?
Just totally blow their minds.
Love it.
Well, I think at this point I need TJ in my left arm now after trying to build up the arm strength. But
Oh man, are you still friendly with a lot of your college teammates?
Yeah, I know a lot of the guys. Keep up with a lot of them. Talk to actually quite a few of them. We got actually Greenville will be facing one of my really good buddies, Mason Montgomery, in Bowling Green this week. But out of my recruiting class to Tech, I'm real close with all those guys.
Are you going to tip off your Greenville buddies with what he's got?
I tried. So my buddy actually faced us in the FCL last year when I was down there, and I tried to give him a scouting report. And by the time that he got to us, he had added 2 more pitches, and so he changed his fastball. So it was kind of I told him one thing, and then he went and did another thing. And I just kind of threw my hands up. I was like, I didn't know we could do that. So I don't think my scouting report is going to be much help anymore.
Is taking something out of your playbook?
Yeah, he's a lefty who sits mid-90s, and when I knew him, he was a kind of a sink 2-seam guy and a curveball. And by the time he got there, he was a rising 4-seam and like slider guy, and it just blew my mind. It was 2 different pitchers.
Does that happen a lot where guys get drafted and they're just they get turned into something completely different?
I think it definitely depends on the pitcher, because like sometimes once you get down here and you can get under the Kinatrax, which is like the body movements, the TrackMan data, and all that, they can really see, hey, your body does this really well. Let's try this 4-seam, which we think is going to play really well. And then they'll do it, and all of a sudden wow, that worked really well. And so they'll kind of like run with it. But I think it's happening more nowadays, now that we have such advanced technology. Like here in Salem, I think at actually every affiliate we have now, every time we get on the mound, we have Kinatrax, which literally tracks every single body movement we have to make sure our body is moving at like its like peak performance level. And that's kind of one of the big one for health and one for that potential, like, hey, let's maybe try this, let's try that kind of stuff. So I think as technology advances, it'll happen even more.
That's crazy.
Wow.
I mean, I'm a school teacher. I couldn't imagine if they were like tracking me. They're like, hey, your lesson would work a lot better if you just used your hips a little more. I'm like, what?
It's definitely we had a meeting a couple weeks ago, and it showed a couple parts of like my delivery that I was like, I didn't even realize that was a major part that I was lacking. And it was actually during those couple rough outings I had had started to do something that I don't normally do, and this Kinatrax system was able to pick up on that. And so I was able to fix it in a bullpen, and then I went back out against Kannapolis, and everything felt back to normal again. So it's really cool how something like that can just help you fix a problem basically within a week.
No, it's crazy. Listen, Hunter, last question for me here is I'm just wondering, during the off season, if the organization gives you like, items of things to work on, and it's like mopping, dusting, vacuuming, and you realize that, when do you realize that it was probably your fiance, and how likely is she to contact the Red Sox organization to get your off-season workout regimen just to be cleaning the house? Like, what is it your call? Because I'm just thinking, she's a ball player too, right? So she's got to be able to turn this into her, advantage here. So what do you do?
Absolutely. I think for this off season, she's been a real trooper over the last year and a half of my rehab. That once I get back, I'll definitely do the cleaning around the house.
Don't say that out loud.
I'll do the cleaning and the cooking. That way she can have a break, and she definitely deserves one after putting up with me and just holding down the fort while I'm out here.
Good answer.
You big into cooking?
Yeah.
Big into grilling. You put me in front of an oven or a stove, I'm pretty lost. I can make like spaghetti. That's about it. But I can grill some stuff up.
What's your favorite? Like, Texas is pretty known for their barbecue. I mean, what's your favorite thing to grill?
Oh, steaks, hands down. That's actually probably before I even make it back to the house. When I drive back, I'll probably stop and get me some steaks and cook and grill them up that night.
You ever grill up anything kind of crazy there in Texas?
I personally haven't,
but
I've heard some stories of just some strange stuff, like groundhogs and stuff like that.
I was going with armadillo, but I mean, like
I haven't heard of anybody grilling that one up, but I wouldn't put it past anybody.
There was a place by where I went to school that did alligator. They do grilled alligator there, which just like extra chewy chicken, basically.
Absolutely, I'm a big fan of alligator. Got a couple of friends that are from Louisiana, so every time I go down there, that's one of the staples.
What about snakes, Hunter?
No snakes, thankfully. I don't mess with snakes.
No, I hate them now. In Texas, where you're from, do you see them frequently? I have to know that.
Not in town, but we do have the rattlesnakes.
Oh God,
quite everywhere. But it's I'm not a fan of them. Snakes and spiders, I don't mess with.
How frequently at home would you expect to see a rattlesnake? Once a month?
If I'm like out in the country, you can see him pretty regularly.
Oh shit. Okay.
But as long as you stay in town, you're good.
It's not a way to live, though. You're like, look, if you want serenity and peace and quiet, you're probably gonna get bit by a rattlesnake. But if you want the hustle,
exactly. Your freedom comes with a cost. You just got to deal with the rattlesnake.
That cost is rattlesnakes.
like you can't garden, right? Like that's it, right? Like no one has a garden in Texas. There's no garden.
We do, because the good thing about a rattlesnake is before it bites you, it's going to let you know it's there.
Oh, stop taking the rattlesnake side now.
I'm just saying. But there's a simple shovel will fix a rattlesnake real quick.
Okay. I get that. But still.
Aren't there rattlesnakes by where you are in New York, though, Brady?
I try to ignore that quite a bit.
Because I remember when I was a kid, I'm from the same part of New York in the Hudson Valley, and I remember my dad killing a rattlesnake with a shovel when I was, I think, 4, because it got in our garage.
I did kill a copperhead last year. It was a baby, but a kill is a kill is a kill is a kill. That's
Yep. Hey, a well-placed shovel will stop any snake. That's what I believe.
Touche, sir. Touché.
I think that's on the. Isn't that on the Texas flag somewhere? The Texas Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, I imagine so. I know there's definitely a flag that flies around quite a bit that's got a rattlesnake on it. But it's I stay away from anything snake related.
I'm gonna start an online petition to get the snake taken off if it's on, and get your image juggling fruit to see if we can get that put on there in place.
I'm all for it.
Cool.
All right, so I got one more question for you that I'm going to let Huitzo take us home. But my question is, what's this upcoming off season looking like for you? What have you got planned?
Other than wedding and honeymoon, once I get back from that, looking to put on a little bit more weight, kind of to cap off this rehab, and then develop the slider and start getting ready for spring training. And I think next year, I've had a good year so far this year, but I think next year take a big step forward. But I think the main goal this offseason is get a little bit more of my velo back, because I still feel like I got a couple more miles per hour in there, and just kind of polish up everything and get ready to roll next year for my first full year.
Where's the honeymoon?
Bahamas.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep. I'm gonna go sit with my feet up for a week in the Bahamas and try to not think about anything work related.
Cool.
Sounds like a good plan.
Absolutely. It's. What were you saying?
Oh no, I was just saying. Huitzo's got the last question.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I really like to know, is there some part of your game that you think is the weakest link, and what would you like to do to to reinforce that?
I would definitely say it's my changeup and the slider at the moment, and it's just the changeup was ultimately kind of the pitch that hurt my elbow. So that's been more of I've fixed how I throw it, so it no longer puts that stress on the elbow, but just gaining the confidence of, hey, I'm not gonna do this again. I'm not gonna hurt it again, just to trust it, and then the slider to develop it, throw it some more, really turn it into a weapon. But I definitely feel like by the end of the off season, I can have both of those polished up and ready to go. That way, next year I'm more of a complete pitcher and back to completely normal.
Great.
I actually have one more question to ask you, but it's not a baseball one. Do you have any pets?
I do. I have one dog named Macy.
What kind?
Lab Rottweiler mix.
Oh wow,
Yep.
must be a handful.
She is. She's about 98 pounds. She's basically she's a lab, just with the Rottweiler coloring. So she's like all black with the 2 brown dots on it, like her eyebrows. But she's one of those dogs. She will lick you to death and thinks that she's a Chihuahua. You're sitting on the couch, she will get in your lap.
Yeah, I've got a Chihuahua mix, and she thinks she's a Rottweiler.
It's weird how the big dogs think they're the little ones, and the little ones want to be the big ones.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and they trick each other, because the big, like the little ones are always the alphas. They're always,
Absolutely.
You see a little one leading the pack, and the big ones are just like, oh, okay.
Spoiler alert, it's like that when you're married too. It's the same thing.
I figured that's basically how it's already being run. So we're good to go.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No surprise then for you at
Awesome.
all. Yeah. Cool.
Oh man. Well, this has been an absolute blast. Thank you so much for coming on, Hunter. Now, where can people find you if they want to follow you online?
Twitter is the main one. I'm on Instagram very rarely, just because I try to limit my social media habit to 1. And Twitter is where I can get all my sports news and all that, anyways. So absolutely, I can keep up with Sox prospects. I can keep up with all my friends. I can keep up just with really everything that I want to keep up with, and I can just kind of block out everything I don't want to hear about. I honestly don't even remember my Twitter handle.
We'll find that and put it when we drop this. We'll find your handle for it so people can follow you on it. I
appreciate it.
My computer, like if I try to switch screens when I'm in StreamYard, it'll just cause everything to go haywire, so I can't do it right now. But definitely give Hunter a follow. Keep an eye on him. He's definitely a prospect to watch. Currently at number 36 on Sox prospects, which pretty big jump there. So definitely looking forward to seeing how you progress the rest of the season and into next year. But yeah, thank you again, and we'll see you all next time.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pesky Report. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.